Okay, now we will pay homage to the Buddha by reciting Namo Tassa 3 times. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Sammasambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Sammasambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Sammasambuddhassa. Today we are going to talk about Yuganaddhasutta. Here I should introduce the meaning of Yuganaddha. Yuga means a pair. Nada means combined together or tied up together. So there will be different types of pairings. That's why here we call Yuganaddhasutta. Actually, this sutta is delivered by Venerable Ananda, but also in the presence of the Buddha. So when we study a sutta, then we can also know the introductions of the sutta. But here we have the Pali, Evan me sutta, Ekan samayang, Ayasama anando, Kosambiyang, Viharati, Gositarame, Tatara ko Ayasama anando, Bhikkhu amandesi. Okay, I should introduce one by words. Evan me sutta, that's how I heard. So that means he had learned from the Buddha. Actually, he himself is a Dhamma talker of this sutta. Why he mentioned, I have heard like this. So that means it also in the presence of the Buddha, it also in his presence. That is why we can say it will be sutta. Then ekan samayang. So in one mostly we translate as a one occasion. Actually, there are many occasions. Sometimes the Buddha will lay down Vinaya rules. Sometimes the Buddha will explain his suttas to the devotees. So here in this case, ekan samaya means desana samaya. Desana samaya means the occasions of giving Dhamma talk. The ayasama anando, because the respect, we just use ayasama anando. Then Kosambiyang Viharati Kositarame. So Buddha also living there in the Kositarama, in Kosambi. Venerable Ananda was also living there in Kosita monastery in Kosambi. Tatara ko Ayasama Anando Bhikkhu amandesi. So there, Venerable Ananda attracts the bhikkhus. Awuso bhikkhave. So similar expressions can be found in many sutta. Sometimes the Buddha addresses bhikkhus. But now here, Venerable Ananda, he called Awuso bhikkhave. So the Buddha also used bhikkhave, but he's the Buddha. He's the leader of Buddhists. That's why he can use bhikkhave. But in the case of Venerable Ananda, some of them will be his senior, some of them will be his junior. That's why he just said, Awuso bhikkhave, the friends bhikkhus. Then all the bhikkhus also replied, Awuso dikho bhikkhave ayasmando, asmado anandasa bachasosum. Okay, one more thing here. Why Venerable Ananda address bhikkhu or bhikkhave or friend bhikkhus? Sometimes in the sutta also when you read, you can also find similar statements. Buddha addressed bhikkhus. Why he did like this? If the Buddha didn't remind, many of bhikkhus will remain meditating. This is also one thing. Or maybe they may discuss something about the Dhamma, or maybe they may have wandering thoughts. But the Buddha is going to deliver a discourse. So that's why he's going to remind the bhikkhu. And that's why he just introduced bhikkhu. Now here in Venerable Ananda's case, he also used the same. The bhikkhu may be meditating, or maybe the bhikkhu may be discussion, something about the Dhamma, or some people may have wandering thoughts, many other thoughts. Then the Buddha, he reminds the bhikkhus, he's going to explain something. Like in modern society, right? Whenever we go, may I have your attention, please? Right? When we go to the airport, we can also hear, right? May I have your attention, please? Right? Everywhere. When we have some attention from somebody, we may say, may I have your attention, please? In Buddhist culture, here, this is the way the Buddha trying to get attention from the bhikkhus. Anyway, Venerable Ananda, they also replying to Venerable Ananda, also, let me from Ananda. Then they also pay attention to Venerable Ananda's speech. Now, Asma Anando Edadhoja, Venerable Ananda address like this. Yohi kochi bhikkhave bhikkhu, wa bhikkhuni wa, mama sandike, arhata padam, bhakarondo, savoso, chaduhi magehi, ede samwa, anyadarina. So here that means, whenever the bhikkhus or bhikkhunis come and declare that they have attained arhatship, there can be only 4 ways they address. So today we are going to introduce the 4 ways. So here we use the Pali words, Situhi Magge, Mekka means path knowledge sometimes. But here in the case of the practice, it cannot be the path knowledge because they are still practicing. It can be with inside knowledge. We can also say Noble Eightfold Paths. Then Venerable Ananda starts explaining the first part of the sutta. Katamehi chatuhi ita bhikkhave bhikkhu Samatha-Vipassanā Vipassanā bhaveti. That's a Samatha-Vipassanā Vipassanā bhavando maggo sanjayati so dhammagam asevati bhaveti bahuli karoti tassa dhammagam asevando bhavayando bahuli karando sanyojanani bahiyandi anusaya bhayanti karohandi. These are the Pali. So there are 4 things. The first one is, here I mentioned friends bhikkhus. A bhikkhu develops insight preceded by insight. Sorry, this is a mistake. Insight preceded by serenity. We can say samatha, right? And developing insight preceded by serenity, the path appears. He pursues this path, develops it, and cultivates it. As pursuing, developing, and cultivating this path, the factors are abandoned. The underlying tendencies are uprooted. It will be a little bit difficult for normal practitioners. But anyway, I have to introduce all 4 words now. Here I mentioned Samatha-Vipassanā Vipassanā bhaveti. So this is the key words in the first line mentioned, right? Samatha-Vipassanā Vipassanā. It's inside knowledge, but preceded by samatha. Now we are also practicing the same. Samatha preceded by vipassana. Sorry, vipassana preceded by samatha. So here I mentioned Samatha-Vipassanā Vipassanā bhavanto. Let me by developing insight preceded by samatha. Maggo sanjayati, the path appears. That means they may attain path knowledge. Then here we have to elaborate a little bit more about the path. We have many different paths. Here mentions another one is Sotamaka Asewati, another one. I mean, he pursues this path. Okay, one more thing. If we say Asewati, let me repeat it, or repetition. The path knowledge will arise only one time and followed by fruition knowledge. That is why when we talk about Asevana Pachayo in Patthana, the path knowledge is excluded. Anyway, it will be too difficult for you to understand. Now we should say very simple things. When we talk about path knowledge, then the first path knowledge, the second path knowledge, the third path knowledge, then if we have many path knowledge, we can say repetition. If we have only one time path knowledge, we cannot say repetition. In the case of Vipassana, we have to do the same things many times. But now practically, when you are going to do Anapanasati, you have to focus on the breathing many times in one sitting. This is called repetition, doing the same things many times. Now he also mentioned bhaveti. Bhaveti means develop. So we have to develop concentration, we have to develop insights. Also bahuli karoti. Bahuli karoti here translated as a cultivated. Actually, in the case of bahuli karoti means doing many times. So that means we wish to improve, we wish to do the same things many times. Okay, practically, when we are going to study a language, we have to repeat many times. For example, when we are going to study English, we have to repeat A, B, C, D, E, F, G many times. After that, we have to repeat many vocabularies. Okay, here we mentioned like a bahuli karanti in the third line, right? Bahuli karanti. Then that means we have to do the same things many times. Okay, I have always said, when we are studying English, we have to repeat A, B, C, D many times. I don't remember how many times I have to digest A, B, C, D. Also, we have to digest many grammatical points. I don't know how many times we have to try to digest. Similarly, in the case of practice, we have to try many times until we can understand clearly or we can see clearly. But it will be a little bit difficult for beginners. But anyway, when we are going to practice, then tassa dhammaka asewando, bhavando, bhavayando, bodhikarando, sanyojanani, pahiyanti, anusaya, byanti karanti. So that means there are many people, they also ask, I am practicing, what will be the benefit? Right? Many people ask this question. I think you may also have the same question. So by practicing samatha, what will be the benefit? By practicing vipassana, what will be the benefit? Then they ask many questions here. Then here the answer will be, according to this sutta, sanyojanani pahiyanti. In English, we translate the paths are abundant. So the factors, okay, what will we call the factors? Actually, it will be very messy for you. But anyway, I will introduce some part of the factors. So factors means, okay, you may have already seen the prisoner, right? Then they are tied up with something, right? So anyway, a factor means we are tied up with something. For example, we may have some desirable things. That means in your house, you may have your belonging. there are something you like too much. If you have very little things in your home, then you can go here and there easily. If you have many, many things in your home, wherever you go, you will remember your home. Right? That means, although we are very far from desirable objects, we are tied up together. Wherever we go, we cannot be free from the factors. That means we are tied up with our desirable objects. So sometimes, although it's not really very good quality, if we have attachment to it, it becomes desirable. Then similarly, if we hate somebody, or if we hate something, whenever we encounter something, we may remember our enemies, right? So that means whether love or hate, these are factors. So if we love somebody, our mind will go there. If we hate somebody also, our mind will go there. This is the nature of factors. So if we have concentration, if we have insight knowledge, we can be free from this kind of factors. Actually, there are many other factors. For example, conceits. Now we can also say pride. Sometimes we also translate as arrogance. Anyway, if we say mana also, it comes from our ability, our quality. We may be proud of our ability, our quality. Sometimes, although we don't have quality, we can be proud of ourselves. So that means the proud also one of the factors. We can tie it up with our quality, or our achievements, or our success. So anyway, there are many other factors. Then, if we have good practice, we can be free from all these kinds of factors. Then again, here mentioned anusaya bhayanti honti. Also mentioned underlying tendencies are uprooted. What are really called underlying tendency? We have three different levels of defilements. Sometimes our defilements are very gross. It will cause the crime. For example, if we are so greedy, we may kill living beings. If we hate somebody, if we hate too much, we may kill other living beings. So that means if our defilements become very strong, we may break law, and we may break precepts. This is strongest defilements. Sometimes our defilements are not so strong like this. It does not change into the actions, just keep it in the mind. So when we feel discomfort in our mind, for example, when we have anger, we don't do anything to anybody. We don't make anything harmful to anybody. But we feel discomfort in our mind. This is also called defilements. So now in the case of anusaya, this is like an underlying, we have mentioned underlying defilements. Underlying tendency. That means greed. In our daily life, our minds are calm and quiet. When we see something desirable, then we may have attachment to it. Similarly, when we see something undesirable, we may have hatred or something discomfort in our mind. This is called latent tendency. So before encountering any good and bad things, we all are good person. We all are wise. When we encounter something desirable or undesirable, then we can know how strong our mind is, how mature we are. In the case of anusaya, latent tendency or underlying tendency, we can also say underlying defilements. By practicing vipassana, we can overcome many desirable objects or undesirable objects. But to uproot underlying tendency or underlying defilements, we need to attain path and fruition knowledge. So that is why here I mentioned, if we can practice or if we can develop or cultivate the paths, then we can overcome or we can abandon the factors because of uproot the underlying defilements or latent tendency or underlying tendency. So here I mentioned samatha is in the very beginning. Later we go to vipassana. So later I have to elaborate a little bit more in detail, but this is the only introductions. Okay, now again, second part. Punacha parang auso bhikkhu vipassana bopangamam samatham bhaveti tassa vipassana bopangamam samatham bhavanto mekho sanjoyati sotam mekhan asevati bhaveti bholi karoti tassa tam mekhan asevanto bhavayanto bholi karanto samyojanani pahiyanti anusaya bhayanti karanti bhayanti honti. Again, bhikkhus. A bhikkhu develops serenity preceded by insight. By developing serenity preceded by insight, the path appears. He pursues this path, develops it, and cultivates it. As pursuing, developing, and cultivating this path, the factors are abandoned. The underlying tendency are uprooted. So here in this case, they practice vipassana first, after that they could do samatha. Two different ways. The quality will be the same, the path will appear, then after that they can also abandon the factors, they can also abandon underlying tendency, the same quality. Okay, now the next one. Yuganaddha. Puna Jabram also bhikkhu Samatha Vipassana Yuganaddham Bhaviti. This is the first part. All other things will be similar. Again, friends, a bhikkhu develops serenity and insight together. So how is it possible we can practice Samatha Vipassana together? Actually, many people have already learned many different traditions. Then you may also have known pure Vipassana vehicle and Samatha vehicle and many different methods. But when we talk about Yuganaddha, without attaining jhana, it's impossible. After attaining jhana, it's possible. Later, I have to elaborate all the things. Okay, now we have to proceed to the last part of the sutta. Punacha parang avuso bhikkhuno dhammodacha vikhitam manasam hoti hoti so avuso samayo yandang chitang achata meva sanditati sanithati sanisitati ekoti hoti samadhiyati. That's not mekho sanjayati. All things will be the same. Again, friends, because what the bhikkhu's mind sacks by agitation about the Dhamma, there comes a time when the mind internally becomes steady, sinks, and comes to the single point and concentrates. And to him, the path appears. So remaining part will be same as before. So this path talking about impurity of insight, otacha, restlessness or agitation. This is impurity. So later we have to study all the things in detail. So here, briefly, we can understand 4 different things. Samatha, practice, after that, go to Vipassana. Second one, practice Vipassana, then go to Samatha. The third one, both Samatha and Vipassana together. The last one is, we call Dhammodacha, Vikahita. That means impurity of insight. So we have to overcome all the impurity of insight. Then there will be improvement. So many people approach the Buddha and they declare their arhataship. Whenever they declare, they may mention one of these 4. Then here mentioned, this is the end of the sutta. Yohi kochi also bhikkhu, also bhikkhu wa bhikkhuni wa, mama sandike arhatapatam, adapatem bhakaroti, saboto imehi chatuhi makehi, ete samva anyatarena wati, anyatarenati. Prince bhikkhus, whoever bhikkhus or bhikkhuni declares witness in my presence, which declare it in one or other of these 4 ways. There is no other. Just from Anguttara Nikaya. So this part is only from the Pali Canon. Then we have to elaborate a little bit more. The first part, Samatha-Vipassanā. Samatha-Vipassanā means we practice Samatha first, after that we go to Vipassana. So the noble one who attained jhana and continues practicing Vipassana, this is called Samatha-Vipassanā. Then the meditation subject that can attain jhana, we also have to know, if we wish to attain jhana, we must practice the object that can lead us to the jhana. So here I list out what kind of practice can lead to what kind of attainment. The first one, 10 asubhas. Asubha means repulsiveness meditation. So as you have already known repulsiveness, if we say repulsiveness is undesirable, nobody wishes to see undesirable things. It's very gross object also. For example, when we go to see in the funeral, right? Most of the dead body in modern society annoy us. Why? Because they use many different methods to maintain dead body. Not very smelly also. If we keep it naturally, it will be very smelly within 2 or 3 days. Anyway, so when we are going to see the dead body in modern society, it's not that easy also. But in Myanmar, it's still possible. Whenever they have funeral, they may invite bhikkhu to see the dead body, and we can see the corpse. We can also try to visualize it. We can also experience asubha meditation. Here mentioned 10 different types of asubha. So day by day, the body is changing. So after that, only the bone scattering here and there. Suddenly, the bone also smashed into pieces. Right? We have to see all the procedure of the dead body. Now we must feel repulsiveness. I don't think in Singapore you can do this kind of practice. Right? Because as far as I know, in many funerals, they decorate dead body very beautifully. Right? You will not feel repulsive. Right? When somebody is alive, it's not that much good looking. When they pass away, they decorate very well. It look nicer. Right? You will not feel repulsive, right? In Singapore. Not only in Singapore, actually, in many other countries, they decorate dead body too much. But in Myanmar, we can see natural one, right? Without decoration. So anyway, when we can practice asubha meditation, we can also attain the first jhana. The second one, Kaya-Kata-Sati, 32 body parts. So if we have learned 32 body parts, especially anatomies, we can also know 32 body parts. We also have to see that as a repositives. Okay, I will give some example. Head hair. In non-modern society, they use special shampoo, right? Also, they may make good smell. You may not feel repulsive, right? Especially on the head, you may not feel repulsive. But when you see a thread of hair in the soup, how do you feel? Just changing the place, it becomes repulsive, right? This is called Kaya-Kata-Sati. In many of our body parts, it's in the body, it look nice, it look good, something. But when we change the place, it becomes repulsive, right? And similarly, for example, nails. Now, many of ladies, they decorate very well, right? So in the body, it will look nice, sure. After cutting, then it becomes rubbish, right? So that means Kaya-Kata-Sati means it comes from our body. Every single body parts. There's a smell. There's also shape. There's a color. They also have location. By changing the place, then all the value will be different. That is why we also have to feel repulsives in the body. Okay, now sometimes we also have some difficulty. Sometimes when we have hatred or anger or something discomfort in our mind, then we can also do 32 body parts. Okay, for example, when you hate somebody, you can ask every single body part, right? Do you hate head hair? Do you hate body hair? If we ask part by part, we cannot find anything to be hated. This is the way to overcome hate and love. If we know part by part, then we may have less attachment. But if we see all over the body, it can be desirable or undesirable. There can be love and hate. So Kaya-Kata-Sati is actually repulsive meditations to overcome attachment to living things. In every single body parts, we can also take jhana. This is also important, right? So if we do like skeleton meditation, bone, all over the body has bone. One single bone also can be object of meditation. So all the skeleton also can be the object of meditation, that we can attain the first jhana. Then again, we have 10 kasinas. So it will be too long to explain all the 10 kasinas, right? So I will not say all the 10. I will give some example. For example, of the kasina. So by practicing of the kasina, we can attain the first jhana to fourth jhana. That means first jhana, second jhana, third jhana, and fourth jhana. So we have to visualize the special color of the clay or the soil, like a not totally dark, not really very red, maybe dark brown, maybe reddish brown, maybe that kind of color. Then we can visualize it. Then we can also keep practicing and or batui in Pali. So by practicing this kind of samatha subjects, we can also attain jhana. Actually, there are 10 kasina is too much, right? Then now anapanasati, when you are practicing. By practicing anapanasati also, we can attain up to fourth jhana. Sometimes there are something beyond our imaginary, right? So for example, by merely focusing on the breathing, we can see the light. This is impossible, right? If we just imagine, it's impossible. But when we practice practically, we can experience. We can also attain jhana. Just merely focus on the breathing and breathing out. So it also can be up to fourth jhana. That means first jhana, second jhana, third jhana, up to fourth jhana. Then we also have metta, karuna, mudita. Metta means love and kindness meditation. Mostly when we have a lot of worry, anxiety, sorrow, unpleasant feeling, hatred, then we can practice metta meditation. When we have a lot of fear also, we can do metta meditation. When we have many bad dreams, nightmare, we can also do metta meditation. So metta means we have to love all the living beings equally as we love ourselves. And if we can love all other living beings, then we have metta. We are successful in metta. Similarly, karuna, compassion. So when our relatives suffer from something, we may have a lot of compassion. Sometimes compassion also change to worry, right? But it should be pure compassion, not too much worry. Anyway, the compassion, if we have compassion equally to all living beings, that means we are successful in this practice. Mudita, sympathetic joy. We can also say appreciation. So when somebody is successful or smart or maybe unwell or anything, then we must rejoice or we must appreciate. That if we have something to join to all the living beings equally, we are successful in this practice. So by practicing metta, we can attain up to first jhana, second jhana, and third jhana. Similarly, karuna, third jhana, second jhana, and third jhana. Mudita, the first jhana, second jhana, and third jhana. Upekkha, equanimity. So this is not for beginner. Now we must have equanimity towards all the living beings. It's not that easy. So after practicing metta successfully, karuna, mudita, these three are foundations of upekkha. If we can practice well, if we are successfully practiced, if we have successfully practiced metta, karuna, and mudita, we can also proceed practicing upekkha. Upekkha can attain only fourth jhana. So in our daily life, I think in your daily chant also, you have already chanted today maybe, right? Aviro homi, abhyabacho homi, but it doesn't mention in our chant now. So that means sabbe, satta, sabbe, bana, you have already chanted. The last part mentioned, avira, hondu, abhyabacha, hondu, anika, hondu, sukhyatana, briharandu. These four are metta meditation. Dukkha muchandu. This is a karuna meditation. Yata lada sampati doma vikachandu. This is a mudita meditation. Kamasaka. This is a upekkha meditation. So upekkha is not for beginners, not for new practitioners. For other practice, we have mentioned above, right? It can be for beginners. And the last one, for immature years. This is also not for beginners. So that means for immaterial must be based on kasinas. So among the 10, there's a space kasina, right? So we cannot do space kasina. The space kasina cannot be foundations of immaterial jhana. Because we cannot discern space on the space, right? Anyway, so for immaterial jhana must come from kasinas. So there can be four their respective jhanas, right? Okay, now one more thing. If we are going to practice samatha, we must choose one of these subjects. Then we must practice until we can attain jhana. After that, we can continue practicing other steps. Okay, now we have to move another groove. Here, the order of practice. I should explain how to practice from jhana to vipassana. Just introduction. 1, enter jhana. So that means if you have attained jhana, you can enter into the jhana. It also can be a fortress for you. Whenever you have tiredness, you can also enter and relax in the jhana. It also can be foundations for vipassana. Now here in the case of Samatha-Vipassanā, it must be the foundations of vipassana. So the first jhana, for example, enter into the first jhana, then discern jhana mentality, number 2. So jhana will arise together with, jhana is also mentality. It will arise together with many other mental factors. We have to discern all the mentalities. And step 3, discern materialities. For example, in the case of anapanasati, the object is Pratipaka Nimitta. So breathing is mind-produced materialities. So mind-produced materiality will be the object. But it also arises depending on the body, right? If we don't have any nose or we don't have any breathing system, we cannot know the breathing. That's why there are many other material in the body. Now we have to discern all these types of materialities. Then step 4, discern both mentalities and materialities. Then we must move to 5, discern the past and present causes of mentalities and materialities. So it will be too deep for you for current conditions. In Buddhism, we believe cause and effect relationship. Without cause, there's going to be the effect. All the things come from the conditions. So that means, for example, now when you are listening, there are many other supporting causes, right? There's a space between you and me. That's why you can hear the sound. If we block with the wall, you're going to hear anymore, right? The reason of hearing is space. You also have good ear, also clear sounds. So ear, sounds, space. Not only that, you also have to pay attention to the sound. If you don't pay attention, you're going to hear clearly. So there are many conditions to hear a sound. Similarly, there are many other conditions for the arising of nama-rupas. We have to discern all the cause-effect relationship. Some of them will be past causes, some of them will be present causes. Now I shall talk about present causes, right? So now again, after discerning all the things, we can contemplate the mentalities, the materialities, and their causes as impermanent, suffering, and non-self. This is the very beginning of vipassana. So as you have already known, right, many different types of vipassana, it's very easy, but practically, according to this sequence, it's not that easy. Okay, one more thing, I collect all this information from Majjhima Nikaya. Okay, so we can also find in other Nikaya, but I collect from Majjhima Nikaya. Okay, these are the order of practice. Now, one more thing here I have to introduce. When the Buddha delivers a discourse, we have to consider this is only the order of discourse, or the order of practice, or the order of arising. Because there are many other things also. For example, the order of existence, the order of abandonment, abandoning. So we have many different orders in Buddha's teaching. Now here I will introduce the order of practice. That's why this one also, actually I just mentioned the order of practice. Okay, now, more difficult part here. Very messy one, right? I don't think I can complete this table today. Okay, now, we have to start with number 1, Sila Visuddhi. In the first column, in the first row, we can see Visuddhi and Vipassana, right? So the first part mentions Sila Visuddhi. Sila Visuddhi means the purifications of morality, undertaking moral precepts. Okay, here in this case, I have to introduce only 2 different types of morality for laypersons. So we have Charita Sila. Charita Sila means we have to fulfill our duties as a human being. In household life, the wife and the husband, wife also have responsibility, husband also have responsibility. Similarly, children and parents, both have duties, children duties or parents duties. Employers and employees, in both parties, they have their own duties. Ordained and devotees, we also have duties. So when we are in the community, we must fulfill our duties. So if we cannot fulfill our duties, we are immoral. Not only that, when we are going to practice, we also have to abstain from many wrong things. Many wrong things means, as we have already learned, 8 precepts. These are called sila. Then you have to avoid doing all the things. So if you undertake 5 precepts, you have to avoid all the things. These are wrong things. So if we summarize, when we do sila, it must be our duties, or it must be abstinence. We must abstain from doing something wrong. Okay, one more thing here. What does it mean something wrong? It means it will be harmful for ourselves, it will be harmful for our community or some other living beings. This is called unwholesome. So if we summarize another way, when we talk about sila, we are training our actions and our speech. If we do wrong actions, it will be harmful for other living beings, or it will be harmful for the community. It will be harmful for ourselves. Similarly, if we speak something wrong, it will be harmful for ourselves, harmful for our community, harmful for other living beings. So, in the case of morality, we are purifying bodily actions and bhava actions. So, to purify our minds, we need the next step, Citta Visuddhi. So, yet again, when we talk about Citta Visuddhi, it means purifications of the mind. All the good actions and bad actions come from good mind, or our mind. For example, when our mind is good, we may do good things, we may speak kindly, politely, wisely. When our mind is very bad, we will not speak wisely, politely, and kindly. Similarly, we will not behave well. So to behave well and to speak nicely, we need to train our mind. All the things come from our mind. That's why we need Citta Visuddhi, purifications of the mind. So what's it really called purifications of the mind? Here I have already mentioned, asset concentration or absorption concentration. So in this evening, in the interview, you have already asked how, right? How to see the nimitta, what's the nimitta, and that kind of question, right? I always have answer, what's really called nimitta. So we have three different levels of nimitta. The first one is a parikama nimitta, preliminary sign. So the breathing is also can be considered as a preliminary sign. If you can see like a smoke, a little bit gray color or a little bit dim color, we can also understand as parikama nimitta. Then later we have ukha nimitta, the learning sign. At the time it will be a little bit brighter or a little bit whiter, not as dim as before. Then the last part is pratipaka nimitta, the counterpart sign. So when we can experience or when we can achieve the pratipaka nimitta, we can attain the asset concentrations or absorption concentration. So now we have already talked about many different meditation subjects. So there it doesn't mention anything about Buddhanussati or Dhammanussati or Sanghanussati, right? These subjects they are also meditation subjects, but they cannot attain jhana. Okay, now here, when we talk about anapanasati, you go asset concentration is pratipaka nimitta and absorption concentration also from pratipaka nimitta. Well, when we are in the Bali school, I also misunderstand because we try to understand by imaginary. In the pratipaka nimitta, we can attain asset concentration immediately. But in practical practice, it's not that simple. Although we have seen the pratipaka nimitta, the counterpart sign, that we must train ourselves until we have deep absorption. If we can train well, we can attain asset concentration or absorption concentration. If we are not very skillful, we cannot have deep concentration also. Anyway, even for Citta Visuddhi, it will take very long time for you. Right? Now you are practicing this one, Citta Visuddhi. Very foundations, very beginning of practice. We cannot know your parami. So okay, last night I have already talked about 5 factors, right? Saddha, confidence, also important. So you must believe your ability. If you believe your ability, it's possible, right? So sometimes we have some problem. Many Buddhists have no parami, right? Perfection. If we cannot achieve any improvements, we talk about parami. And sometimes we also complain, right? I don't think I have enough parami to attain jhana. Right? So you should not have that kind of mind. In the case of samatha practice, we just need skill and efforts. If we are diligent enough, if we are skillful enough, we can achieve. So to purify our mind, what is it really called purification? What is called purifying? So we have hindrances. Our mind must be far from hindrances. Okay, I will introduce one more thing. We have already talked about lobha, greed. Right? Greed. Greed also can hinder our improvement. But anyway, as a businessman in Singapore, you must have greed also, right? If you don't have greed, you cannot earn money. Okay, in the case of hindrances, when we are practicing, even very small hindrances can be obstacle. But in daily life, it will be different. You may have greed. You wish to earn money. Okay, this is normal daily life. But here we have to say one thing. Sometimes the greed will make our eyes blind. That means the greed will make our eyes of wisdom blind. We don't know good and bad. Caused by greed, covered by greed, influenced by greed. Then we don't know right or wrong. We just do whatever thing we like, forced by greed. Then we may make many mistakes. We may get wars. Later, we may have a lot of regrets. We may repent for our misdeeds. So that means greed is not really a big problem for businessmen. But if we have improper greed, that means if we are influenced by greed or forced by greed, we will be blind. Then it will be the problem. It will be very serious obstacle or hindrances. Okay, briefly, greed also can hinder our practice, our improvement. Even in meditation, sometimes you may expect immediate results. Immediate result means within one sitting, I must be able to focus on the breathing, right? Deeply, strongly. You may force more and more. You may have very strong expectation. This is also a kind of greed. You get tired. You become exhausted. Then you may not have better results. In the very beginning, it seemed to be good. Gradually, it's not really good experiences for you. So that means don't be in a hurry in practice. Don't expect immediate results. We have to establish concentration slowly and naturally. If everything happens naturally, we can maintain better. If we have to create something, focus something, we cannot maintain well. It's caused by greed. Right? Similarly, hatred or hate or anger. Actually, when we talk about dosa, in Pali we call dosa, right? When we talk about dosa, it covers many different English words. For example, fear, worry, anxiety, sorrow, lamentation, also unpleasant or displeasure in the mind, right? Displeasure. All the things can be considered as a dosa. For example, sometimes when we have a lot of fear, then our mind becomes blind. Our wisdom becomes blind. Similarly, if we hate somebody, our wisdom becomes blind. When we are influenced by hatred or anger, then we become blind. We may do many mistakes. Actually, in the case of lobha, greed, right? Then it will be some enjoyable things. In the case of dosa, we cannot enjoy anything. Okay, practically in your daily life, when you get angry, you can recall how do you feel in your body? How do you feel your blood pressure? Not only that, look at in the mirror. Look at your own inflection in the mirror. How does it look like? Right? Not only that, Buddha also mentioned many different things about dosa. When we get angry, although we eat very delicious foods, it's not tasty. When we get angry, although we are living in a luxurious place, we don't feel comfort. When we are angry, although we wear very nice clothes, it does not look nice. That means our appearance doesn't look nice. So anyway, when we have dosa, it also can be an obstacle. It also can be hindrances. So that means if we say hindrance, we can also understand what kind of things is more harmful for our practice. Then, for example, greed is also harmful for the practice. Hatred, harmful for the practice. Similarly, if we have a lot of restlessness, a lot of remorse, right? When sitting, you may all that your past memory will appear in your mind. All the patterns will come. Something is trauma for you, maybe trauma, right? Very painful feeling in the past. Then you may have done some mistake in the past. All the things will come to your memory. Then all the things can be obstacle for the practice. Remorse is also hindrance. Similarly, we have a lot of doubt. We may have doubt about many different things, right? Like a junction, we are standing on the junction. We don't know where to go. Similarly, when we have doubts, we don't know what to do, what to practice. Doubt also one of the hindrance. So why we have to beautify our mind? Okay, we have to beautify our mind to overcome all these kind of hindrances, to overcome greed, hatred, remorse, and doubt, and restlessness. Also, we have a thought and torpor, like laziness. Then if we can overcome all these things, that means our practice is effective. So that means in every single practice, that's the aim. Of course, to achieve that kind of the aim, we have to encounter many difficulties. Now, practically, you experience when you practice anapanasati, how difficult it is. What I say is very simple, right? Focus on in and out breath naturally, harmoniously. It's very easy to say, but very difficult to harmonize. Very difficult to focus naturally. Anyway, so purifications is overcoming hindrances. So when we have asset concentration and absorption concentration, we can overcome all types of impurity, all types of hindrances. For example, sometimes when we have greed, we may also tear a line, right? That we may not speak politely. We may not speak nicely. Similarly, when we get angry, hatred, or unpleasant feeling, then we may have bad actions, bad speech. So if we summarize 1 and 2, we have to beautify our bodily actions. We have to beautify our bhava actions. We also have to beautify our mental actions. If we can beautify all these things, it can be the foundations of vipassana. So for remaining parts, it will take a little bit longer time to explain. Okay, anyway, what about Ditthi Visuddhi? Here I also mentioned Nama Rupa Parikha. It will be very wide to explain. So when we say Nama Rupa, mostly in many different traditions, they will introduce you, this body is a Rupa. The mind is a Nama. Very simple explanation. Right? Also, you may know a cause of a relationship very simply because of the mind. For example, when you do walking, right? The mind will cause the posture, right? Moving. The mind is because of you want to move, your body move. Your desire is the cause. Moving is the effects. Very simple introductions. But now here is not that simple. I have already talked about in my previous slides, Nama and Rupa. Actually, in this body, there are many different types of Rupas. For example, in the eyes. So we also have iron translucency. Because of iron translucency, we can see it. So when we touch our eye, we can also feel it. Because of body translucency there. So not only that, there are many other types of materialities in the eyes. We have to discern all different types. Similarly, in the ears, the nose, tongue, the body, and the mind. In the mind too, right? That means we have to see all different types of materialities. Not only that, we also have to see all different types of mentalities. Okay, now for your understanding, I will introduce one thing. So at least there will be 5 types of materialities in every single particles or even smaller particles. Okay, practically, right? This one is made of clay, right? When we touch this hardness, this earth element, right? Hardness. Now we can also feel cohesion. Cohesion means if there's no cohesion, it can be pounder. Now solidity is water element. If we don't have water elements, the powder cannot be solid. Now solidity can be produced by water element. Then when we touch, there's also coolness. This is a fine element. So heat and cold both are fine element. If we press, there's also present, right? Then there's also forcing, supporting. So this is also called wind element. Anyway, this is 4 elements. Then there's also color here. But for ordinary people, we don't know the taste, right? Some insect or some bacteria may eat the one, right? Because they know the taste. They have nutriment. We can also smell something here. So in every single small particles, there will be 4 elements: the color, smell, taste, and nutritive essence. Okay, now here, flower again. Another example. If we touch, it will be soft. This is a earth element. Then there's also solidity, water element. There's also coolness, fire element. There's also, if we press, it will also respond, right? This is also one element, supporting. Then there's a smell. We can also see the color, smell. Then some insect will eat it because of taste, or the nutrition. So that means in every single particles, even smaller particles, there will be at least 8 materialities. In the case of Ditthi Visuddhi, we must try to know all different types of materiality like this in every single particles. Different particles may have different types of materialities. Then we have to know. Similarly, for mentalities, when we see something, of course, if we don't pay attention, we're going to see it. Then we may feel something good and bad. Without feeling, we're going to know it. Then similarly, without eye contact, we're going to see it. There must be contact, intention, feeling, perception. Many mental factors will arise together. So we have to know all the things. This is called Namarupa Parikaha, to purify our view. Ditthi Visuddhi means purifications of the view. So naturally, we may know this body as a solid one, but this body also made of small particles. In every particle, there is also different material. If we can know all the materialities, we can also have the perceptions of anicca, dukkha, anatta clearer. Right? So many people, they say anicca, dukkha, anatta very easily. Right? Whenever they say something, anicca, dukkha, anatta, very easy, but not that simple. After understanding all the things, we can know anicca, dukkha, anatta. But the main thing is, if we know combinations of many different things in this body, we will not feel as atta or atama. That means everlasting entity, right? We will not feel that body is an everlasting entity, because all the particles will arise and perish very rapidly. So at the time, we can also purify our view. We may not think this body is an everlasting entity. Similarly, the mentalities, also not everlasting entity. So there are many different ways to approach this method. Actually, it will be too wide. That's why I will not say many different things, right? Okay, now. In other words, Visuddhi. Okay, here I should introduce something about Visuddhi. Visuddhi means the purifications of overcoming doubts. So what kind of doubt do we have? We may have a lot of doubts, right? We may have a lot of doubts. Okay, here in this case, when we talk about overcoming doubt, we have to introduce doubt about the past. As a Buddhist, you may believe you have past life. Then, for non-Buddhists, it's very difficult to understand, or they may not accept past life. Actually, in modern society, we have many documentary about the past lives. For example, some reincarnation documentary. Then, for Eastern country, for example, like Myanmar, Thailand, Cambodia, Laos, Sri Lanka, for example, we are Theravada Buddhists. Similarly, some about China, Japan, some about Korea. Also, we can also say in Singapore, some Buddhists. We have Buddhist background. If our children talk about their past lives, we may listen. Right? If they in other religion, it's very different from their religion. That's why if their children talk about their past life, they will say it's against their belief that they will not listen. Okay, anyway, the main thing is about the past lives. We may have talked about the past. In the past, whether I've been born in the past or there's no past life. If I have been born in the past, how is my body? What's my appearance? What kind of living being I was there? Then before the past life, what's another past life? We may have many doubts about the past. This is called doubt. In this case, in the case of overcoming doubt, what that means, doubt about the past, doubt about the future, doubt about the present. Okay, so I should say something about one documentary I have watched when I was young. That is about reincarnation. One of the little girl in Sri Lanka, she passed away when she was washing his hard clothes in the river. Because of heavy rain, she was swept away by the water and she died. So she remembered her past life family. Not only parents, remember all the brothers and sisters and everybody. When she can speak, she just talk to her parents. I want to go and see my parents. Then they say, I mean, your parents. No, you are not my parents in that area, this area. She talk about the area. Even her parents had never been there. They will send her back to previous family. She called all the family members by name. Then she also introduced how she passed away. All the family members cry. It's the truth. Right? This kind of thing happen in modern society. Of course, she was born in Sri Lanka. That's why parents will listen. Right? Anyway, about the past. We are born in this very life caused by past karma. We are accumulating karma in this present life. It will produce our future. So in the case of Visuddhi, the purifications of overcoming doubt, Then we have to discern the past lives. Then, if you have some knowledge about Paudoya, you may also have known in Paudoya, we have also encouraged meditator to see the past lives, right? You may also have known some knowledge. You may have some knowledge about it. Not that simple. Actually, it takes very long time to see the past. Anyway, the main thing is, if we can purify our doubt about the past, present, and the future, then there with the next steps, Mekka, Yuganaddhasutta Visuddhi, Samasana, and Dharuna Udayabhaya. Okay, that means this is the very beginning of Vipassana, Anicca Dukkha Anatta. So it will be too long for you, right? So now maybe also time's up already. I will summarize. So I write down 1, 2, 3, 4, up to 7. These are the order of practice. Right? Sometimes we misunderstand the order of discourse as the order of practice. But here, this is the order of practice. When we approach a discourse, we must learn it is the order of practice, or the order of discourse, or the order of arising, or the order of abandonment, or the order of existences. It will be easier for you to digest Sutta well. Okay. So now, today we talk about Samatha practice. After that, go to Vipassana. We call Samatha Bhupankama Vipassana. So that means inside knowledge preceded by Samatha. So now you're finished, okay? I have to continue tomorrow. Anyway, so Buddha's practice is very deep and very profound. The Buddha himself talk about his attainment before he starts delivering the first discourses. The Dhamma he has experienced is very deep and profound. It is also beyond imaginary. It also only experienced by the wise. So, if we practice well, then we can experience. Another thing is, even at the time of the Buddha said, people have very strong defilements. People also delight in defilements. They are happy with the defilements. But when we are going to practice, we have to go against the defilements, different directions. When you are earning, you can be greedy. You can expect many different things. But when you are going to meditate, don't expect too much. Just do what you can do now. If you think about many, many very far things, right? For example, you may think about Nibbana, very far. It's not very practical, right? Actually, many times when people ask something about Nibbana, I don't answer. What is Nibbana? Right? I just talk to them. It's very far from you, not very practical. We just approach practical one, know the breathing. It's practical, right? Sometimes we were trying to understand by imagining. Sometimes it's also beyond our imaginary. We cannot understand clearly. We also misunderstand. Anyway, Buddha teaching is not that easy to achieve, but we also need to practice practically and naturally. Then we have to upgrade our quality, our qualifications. After upgrading our qualifications, then we can achieve all the things as instructed by the Buddha. Okay? May you all be able to practice the Buddha's teaching, and may you all be able to realize the final cessation and no suffering.
Okay, question number 5. Honorable Sayadaw, if a yogi had the nimitta for many years on and off, but when focused on the nimitta that is spread everywhere like kasina, but mind don't have continuous interest on the light, already bright, shining, spread to everywhere, Should the yogi focus on the light or breathing?
Okay. In this case, as long as you can know the breathing, don't think about the light too much. If you think about the lights, it will be more messy. Now, it's already very messy, right? Spread everywhere. Then your mind follow many different places. So, okay, if I summarize, you must know breathing in any condition. Don't think about the light too much. Don't be interested in light too much also. Okay?
问到你下一个 How to know once has already achieved Upachara Samadhi?
Okay. So in the case of Upachara Samadhi, our controlling faculties are not strong and mature yet. When we fall into Vanga state, this is the mark of asset concentration. Right? Sometimes after experiencing, then we may have balanced controlling faculties. Our controlling faculties will become mature. We may not fall into the Vanga states. Now all the jhana factors are working very powerfully. It also can overcome all types of hindrances. That means it's called jhana. Even in the case of asset concentration, they can overcome hindrances. Okay?
Today in the book, it says that we must balance our four elements. So if someone has enough concentration, then he can make use of the external energy to work on his own body. For example, the light, the sunlight, and he can pay attention as the sunlight shines on himself. Now, then in this way, the energy of the sunlight can be used to adjust his own body. It will be useful for meditations. It will be very easy for those who have this meditation power. But why is that? Many meditators who are very advanced in their meditation still have a lot of diseases. Even the Buddha have abhinya, have superpower, can treat his own disease and can overcome the painful sensation of the body. Why he still have to experience painful sensation?
Actually, this is a little bit strange to me also, right? Right? For meditation, all the things must be out from our body, not from the sun, right? Okay, you may need vitamin D, maybe, right? Right? This one can be from the sun. Right? Any other case? Okay, one more thing, right? In her question, it also mentioned, sorry, it also mentioned, right? Many painful feeling in the body, right? The Buddha also can overcome this kind of questions. Actually, we have one method mentioned in the Master Sutta commentary. Not only there, actually, there are many other parts mentioned, the overcoming pain or something. In Pali, we call Vedana Vikampetawa. So Vikampetawa means removing or overcoming. So overcoming feeling or overcoming sensation, we can say like that. For those who wish to overcome the pain or any other discomforts, they must have very strong concentration. This is one thing. The another thing is that they must have very strong tranquility or rapture. If they have very strong rapture and tranquility, they can ignore the pain. They can forget about the pain. Then they can continue practicing. In the case of the Buddha, for example, he has headache. To overcome it, he entered into many different attainments. So that means when he was practicing or entering into some attainment, he just know the object of the attainment. He didn't know the body. That is why he could overcome the pain. Okay, similarly, you may have known Venerable Mahamoggallana. He was beaten by 500 people. You can imagine. Beaten by 500 people. He can stay alive. Right? How is it possible? Also, his bone crushed. Every single part of the bone are crushed. How he can be healthy? It's all the same. He has psychic power, very strong concentration. He has rupture, joy, that he can bear everything. Not only that, he has psychic power, he can transform his body to be healthy, go to see the Buddha, ask for forgiveness and many things. He just go back and he's just enter Nibbana. Right? Okay, briefly, if we wish to overcome the pain in your body, you must have strong concentration. There's a requirement. If you don't have strong concentration, you must have rupture or tranquility, piti-passati. Okay, for example, I will give another example, easier example. You may watch the movie, for example. It's very interesting. If you are very interested in the movie, you may not feel anything in your body. Right? All the mosquito bite, you may not know. It's very interesting. Similarly, now in the case of practice, when you are mind inclined to tranquility too much, it's interesting. Also, too much comfort, too much pleasant, and you can ignore pain. Okay, so if you want to overcome the pain, trying to have strong concentration, rupture or tranquility, it will be easier for you, right? Okay, another one.
Miss Yador, I have experience of very delicate breath for a long time. When I was in meditation center a few months ago, white cloud light and bright light around face and body only for 30 minutes to 1 hour to over 1 hour for around 2 months. However, no experience light together with breath. What was the reason for no light together with breath? Now I have about 2 hours only a day to meditate. Is the nimitta still possible? Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Okay, if you practice only 2 hours a day or 2 sessions a day, you cannot expect very high quality. But anyway, you can maintain your concentration. This is good enough, right? Okay, one more thing about your question here, right? You have experienced the light all over the body, or then you have seen the light around 30 minutes to 1 hour. Okay. You can also see the light all the day. Is it possible? But seeing the lights and seeing the nimitta are two different things. Right? So you may see the light, but if you are mind inclined to the light too much, more inclination to the light, then you may have less inclination to the breathing. So the main thing is that although you see the light, you must keep knowing the breathing. Gradually, the light will become brighter. The light will become very subtle. It can change to the nimitta. Right? So that means if you were to see the nimitta, don't expect too much also. Expectation is also one of the obstacles. Greed, right? If you have greed, it will make your improvement slower. Okay?
When the Messiado, in the afternoon sitting, he felt that on the top of his head is very heavy, and after meditation, the eyes also very heavily closed. So he would like to ask Bante how to adjust this heaviness on the top of the head and how to practice in a more relaxed way.
We can find this kind of case in 2 or 3 sutta in Majjhima Nikaya. The Buddha himself experienced that kind of things. In your case, we can understand you control breathing. The Buddha himself practiced controlling breathing in the very beginning. As you have known, the Buddha had practiced wrong methods for many years, right? Then Buddha control his breathing. He feel tension all over the body. Tight upwards. How about this one? elastic, right? Elastic band, right? Elastic band, right? Elastic, right?
Elastic.
Elastic, right? That means tied up with elastic all over the body, tied up. Similarly, his head also tied up with elastic. I mean, very, very tight. So another thing is also one somebody mentioned. They tied up with leather sheets. Two very strong person were pulled into two different directions. For example, wrapped the head with the leather sheet. Two person were pulled into two different directions, right? Very tight in the head. So both also feel this kind of things when he was controlling breathing. So be careful. If you feel something discomfort in your body, that means you are controlling breathing, or your energy is not really good enough, right? So for example, if you force too much, you may feel discomfort. Be careful, right?
Sayadaw, please Sayadaw advise. 1. Is it true Anapanasati can developing Vipassana? How to do? Where is it different Anapanasati developing in Samatha and in Vipassana? Question 2. How Buddha do Chankama? Question 3. What's means save mind power and save body energy? How to do? Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Good question. Okay. Now, the first questions you mentioned, right? How's the difference between samatha and vipassana in anapanasati? Okay, in the case of samatha, we have to know the natural breath, concept breath. In the case of vipassana, we must know ultimate reality. So that is why whenever we started teaching anapanasati, we just say, focus on the natural breath. Sometimes we also remind, don't think about rising and perishing, falling, rising, or anything. Okay, if we summarize the difference between anapanasati, samatha, and vipassana, in samatha, we must know breathe in, breathe out. In vipassana, we must know mind produced materialities. Because the breathing is produced by mind. This mind produced materialities. We must know it. Then we must practice systematically. The many other stuff I already mentioned in the order of practice, right? 7 purifications. Now, how the Buddha do Jangama? I think when you say Jangama, that means walking meditation, right? So walking meditation can be different. For example, sometimes he may enter jhana, he may do walking meditation. Okay, if I say another way, you may have already read something about Tomoroko power, displaying Tomoroko, when Buddha was in his native town. At the time, he was also walking. He also do walking meditation, walking, pacing up and down. He just make his own walking paths. By his psychic power, he also do walking meditation. At the time, we can understand that he's in the psychic power, right? So in this case, it will be different according to the condition he has. Sometimes he may do just normal meditation. Sometimes it can be with psychic power. Sometimes it can be with jhana. Sometimes it also can be with path and fruition attainment. It depends on many different conditions. There can be different jangama. Okay? That one, what means to save mind power and save body energy. Sometimes we put too much mind power to know the breathing. The more we put our mind power, the more we have restlessness. Sometimes you know you have wandering thoughts. You cannot cut the thoughts. The more you struggle, the more you have a thought. And you try to cut the thoughts. The more you struggle, the more you have a thought. That means you have excessive mind power. More relaxed, you can overcome this problem. Similarly, body energy. Sometimes you may breathe and breathe out forcefully. In the very beginning, you can stabilize your mind. After some times, you may feel tension around your nose. You may feel tension around your head. That's why don't force too much. Even don't grasp your hand very tightly. Okay? I have already mentioned in the instruction, don't clench your teeth. That means you have used too much mind power, too much body energy. So whenever you've used some excessive body energy, you may feel something discomfort in your body. Right? So then that's why I say safe energy means as long as you can breathe in normally, don't struggle anymore. Don't force anymore. Don't make it clearer, better, stronger, deeper. It will be easier for you. Right? And this one?
Seattle. Pandemic Seattle. In the document page 9, Anapanasati can attain 1 to 4 jhana. That is right.
Yeah, sure.
I think the questioner is referring to this table. Under the Anapanasati is mentioned here 4th jhana only, not 1st to 4th jhana.
Mm-hmm.
Is it 1st to 4th jhana?
The 1st to 4th jhana.
Okay.
Anapanasati, sure.
Yes.
Okay.
Pandemic Seattle. There are 3 questions. The first question has already been answered. Second question, for those who have hypertension, can they meditate? Third question, after sitting by half lotus for 1 hour, the legs become painful. What should he do?
Second one, is it?
Second one is hypertension, high blood pressure. Can one who has high blood pressure meditate?
Okay. It doesn't matter. For this kind of problem, you can relax your mind. You can focus on the breath. It's not really a big problem. Then another one is full lotus or half lotus, right? I don't recommend that kind of posture. It's not very healthy posture also, right?
Mandami Seattle, during meditation, when the concentration becomes good, she felt. Mandami Seattle, can you hear me? Hello, can you hear me? Yeah, Mandami Seattle, when he practiced meditation, sometimes when the concentration becomes good, the legs seem to stick to each other and it's tightly stick together until discomfort. Until he felt uncomfortable. So what is the cause and how to adjust? Both legs seem to stick together tightly. Yes.
Sometimes when you have tranquility, you can also feel like your body is like a rock, stick together. In this kind of case, it's not that much discomfort. It's okay. In your case, if you feel discomfort, it's caused by a certain posture, right? You have to change certain posture. Okay?
Seattle mentioned Jetter's Sayutana during the lecture about love and hatred. So I'm wondering what's the difference between the defilement, kilesa, and the fetters. Can I understand that fetters doesn't have avijja?
Actually, okay. That means it will be, okay, according to Abhidhamma, there can be different number of mentalities. Okay, we have different name. Okay, for example, Lobha. Lobha also can be factors. Lobha also can be kilesa. Lobha also can be hindrances. Right? This means only one thing. It can be different name. Okay, for example, when you live in your house, when you see your parents, you become daughter. Right? But when you see your aunt, uncle, you become nephew, niece. Right? That means the same person, different name, different relationship. Similarly, one mental factors can have different name. Okay, according to the case and conditions.
Thank you, Seattle.
Etawata cha amehi Sambadam bunya sambadam Sabbe deva numodandu Sabbe buddha numodandu Sabbe satta numodandu Sabba sampati siriya Idame nyatinam hotu Sukhita hondu nyatayo Idame nyatinam hotu Sukhita hondu nyatayo Idame nyatinam hotu Sukhita hondu nyatayo Idame punyam asawakaya Vaham hotu Idame punyam Nibbanasa Pachayo Hotu Mama Punya Bhagam Sabba Satanam Bhajemi Te Sabe Me Samam Punya Bhagam Labantu Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.